Hello, first grade. We have a story to read today. Our story is all about the planet Mars. It's called Looking for Mars. And if you think back to last week's activities, we had talked about that R sound, which was made with an AR, and the OR sound, which was made with the OR. Look at the title of our story, Looking for Mars. Can you find an OR word? Can you find an AR word? OR is in our word for that we can find here in the title. Here's our OR. Whoa, I can put a circle around it. And then we have our AR sound in the word Mars. I can put a circle around that one too. Watch carefully. All right, here it goes. Let's look at our story. It's a fun one with James and Pat. James looks out his window, and what does he see? It's the moon. Look, it is smiling at me, says James. That gives James an idea. James grabs Pat by the hand and says, Pat, you are in for a treat. It is dark. It is not storming tonight, so the sky is clear. It is time to see Mars. Pat claps her hands and says, Let's go. Pat and James start to walk to the park, but it is not warm, so they go back and grab a scarf for Pat. James puts on Granddad's hat, and it is way too big on him. That makes Pat giggle as they walk down the street. It is a short walk to the park, says James, but it is a long way to the stars. When they get to the park, they look up at the dark. There are so many stars, says James. There is the North Star, but it's hard for Pat to see the star. Mars is so far away. Look for the red. Just look very hard, says James. But it is still hard for Pat to see. She does not see Mars. She does not see the North Star. James and Pat go to the yard in the park, away from the streetlights. We can see more stars here in the dark, says James. Pat stands on a log to make herself tall. That is a lot better, says James. Then Pat grabs his arm. Mars, says Pat. I knew you could see it, says James. I go to the bed with stars, asked Pat. No, we can't sleep out here tonight, Pat. That would not be safe, and it would be too cold. But we will do it again, says James. Pat waves her little hand into the dark. Bye, stars. Bye, Mars. As Pat and James leave the park, Pat takes his arm. I have fun looking at Mars for a while. The moon follows them home, still wearing a smile. Now, if you have done the other activities on this paper that we're sending home, you should see a video on activity number 1 from Mrs. B. She did 4 sight words with us. She said the word again, does, would, and more. As you are reading our story, I want you to look for these words. So pause the video and take a second to write them down. Again, does, would, and more. Okay, did you get them written down? As you go through the story to read, make a list or a tally every time you see these words. You might also want to keep your eyes open for OR and AR words. Here comes the story again. Please pause each page so you have time to read all of the words. Nice job reading. I hope you have found somebody in your house that you can read that story to. Now it's time to turn and talk. What sight words did you find in the story? Were any of our sight words missing in this story? Did you make that list of the AR words from the story? If not, go back in the video and write down a quick list. Practice reading that list of words and then use those words in your own sentences. Did you make a list of the OR words in our story? If not, go back through the story and make a list of those words. Practice reading that list of words and use those words in a sentence. Have fun reading and look out for more AR and OR words all around us.